In my opinion, the scariest pieces of cinema are those that portray reality in imaginary worlds. While the horror genre offers the fluidity to blend the real with the unreal, it is often the stories grounded in real world settings, characters, and societal decay that manage to terrify the most. These films give the audience the unsettling feeling that something from their familiar world has seeped into the imagined world of horror. This could be a room in an opulent house in Georgetown, Washington, D.C., where a little girl is possessed by the devil himself. Or the remote Overlook Hotel in Colorado with its bloody past and isolated winters maintained by a lone caretaker. Closer home, it could be a room in a government women's hostel on the outskirts of Delhi, haunted by a ghost and steeped in everyday fears. In The Exorcist, while the central plot revolves around an exorcism within a single room, it is also the story of a mother willing to go to any lengths to save her daughter. In The Shining, though the Overlook Hotel becomes a sinister character in its own right, steeped in a violent past, the heart of the film lies in a man battling his own psychological demons, who ultimately succumbs to the hotel's dark influence and turns against his family. In Khauf, a young woman from a smaller city in India, carrying the scars of a brutal sexual assault, comes to the capital in search of freedom, only to find that the suffocating male gaze offers none. She becomes prey for a ghost that haunts her hostel room, an evil spirit that feeds on her vulnerability. It is through this lens where horror emerges not just from the supernatural, but from the all too real fears rooted in our society that I will be reviewing Khauf, perhaps one of the finest horror web series to come out of India in recent years. Khauf centers around a young woman named Madhu, who escapes from Gwalior to be with her boyfriend in Delhi. Haunted by a traumatic past, she was brutally assaulted by a group of men. Madhu sees Delhi as a chance to leave those memories behind. But she soon realizes it's not as easy as she hoped. The city's constant male gaze feels like the ghost of her past, relentlessly following her. Uncomfortable, living in a flat shared by her boyfriend and his male friends, she moves to a hostel on the outskirts of the city. Only one room is available, the one that once belonged to a girl who reportedly died in an accident. The four other women on the floor harbor a dark secret. They are trapped by a sinister presence that won't let them leave the hostel, and they believe the evil spirit resides in that very room. Fearing the spirit will possess Madhu and unleash terror on them all, they try to stop her from staying there. But Madhu refuses to give in to their warnings. With no one else to turn to, the room is her only shot at survival. Khauf weaves together multiple subplots that converge in the end. There's Madhu's central story, the individual backstories of the four hostel mates on her floor, and the mystery of the dead girl who once lived in her room. Alongside these, there's the hostel warden's friend, an alcoholic police officer, a woman who frequently visits the hostel to drink with the warden while secretly searching for her missing son, whom she believes has fallen into the wrong hands. Adding to the mix is a mysterious Hakim living in the dingy alleys of Old Delhi who preys on the souls of vulnerable women to prolong his own life. All of these threads eventually tie into Madhu's journey and play a crucial role in the climax. As hinted earlier in my review, Khauf wouldn't be half as terrifying without its real-life parallels. The series holds up a mirror to society in ways rarely seen in recent Indian storytelling, whether on OTT platforms or in theatres. It doesn't rely on monologues or moralizing speeches. Instead, it quietly reveals the everyday reality of being a woman in Delhi, on buses, at workplaces, even in spaces presumed to be safe. Judgment, harassment, and constant surveillance are routine, and they carry consequences. This creates a toxic environment where crime festers. The real life monsters in Khauf far outweigh the supernatural ones. It's this chilling parallel between the horrors of the real world and the supernatural that makes the show deeply unsettling and at times hard to watch. That said, Khauf isn't an edge of the seat horror flick. It moves deliberately, simmering with tension and landing its punches at the right moments. Some might call it a slow burn, but I never found it dull. The screenplay kept me anticipating something unexpected, and when those moments arrived, they were rewarding. Although these aren't your typical horror beats, but the series still delivers its share of jump scares, gore, and supernatural elements to keep the horror fans engaged. The credit for this goes to writer and creator Smita Singh, cinematographer Pankaj Kumar, and production designer Nitin Zihani Chaudhary. Their earlier works include projects like Tumbad, Kalki 2898, and Sacred Games. The writing, for the most part, is engaging. While some critics have rightly called out the lore elements as unclear, these are rare missteps. Where Khauf truly shines is in the seamless blending of the real and supernatural, brought to life through striking imagery and meticulous execution. The sequencing of events and how they converge in the end is satisfying to watch. The production design, in particular, sustains an atmosphere of dread, even when the scenes aren't overtly grotesque. There's a constant sense of gloom and impending danger, the hallmark of effective horror storytelling. Khauf wouldn't be nearly as affecting without its stellar performances. The casting is pitch perfect. Apart from the menacing presence of Rajat Kapoor, a familiar face, the rest of the cast may not be household names, yet they carry the film with remarkable strength. Monica Panwar as Madhu delivers a standout performance, balancing vulnerability and quiet resilience with striking authenticity. The supporting cast is equally compelling, which includes Chumdarang as Svetlana, Geetanjali Kulkarni as Constable Ilu Mishra, Shalini Vatsa as the stern yet layered Warden Gracie, Priyanka Sethia as Reema, Rashmi Maan as Nikki, Ashima Vardhan as Anu, and Riya Shukla as Komal. Each of them brings depth and nuance to their roles, making the characters not only believable but deeply human. In an era where horror storytelling, whether on web or in theaters, often leans on tired tropes like jump scares, gore, folklore, and a parade of ghosts, goblins, witches, vampires, yakshas, and yakshis, often diluted with humor or drowned in grotesquerie, Khauf stands apart. It uses many of these familiar elements, yet tells an original, deeply human story, one that terrifies not because of what's imagined, but because of how much it borrows from the real world. It feels as if the true monsters of life have possessed the supernatural ones, and that's what makes Khauf truly unsettling. It provokes thought, evokes empathy, and scares in equal measure. For that, it absolutely deserves a watch. Khauf is streaming on Amazon Prime Video in India. IMDb gives it 7.6 out of 10. My rating is 4 out of 5. If you have liked this video, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to this channel for more such reviews.